Hey there, this is Seth Juarez coming to you from the Channel 9 live stage at the Washington State Convention Center here for Build 2017 edition. This is day 2, and we are going to get a really good recap with Kevin Gallo. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Great show.
For those that don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Kevin Gallo. I'm Vice President for the Windows Developer Platform. I'm responsible for all the APIs and tools that developers use to build applications.
So if you want to know anything about being a dev on the Windows platform, this is the guy. And so we're all about your questions. You know I like to hog these people's time, but I really want you to hog his time. So if you have questions, please get them up. I want them to be answered. Let's start first, key takeaways. What are the things that you think were important for developers that were talked about in the keynote?
So first of all, I was excited to see all the announcement, the energy that people had and the excitement around the features and technologies. But when I think about it, it's really our goal about making Windows the best developer box and developer experience for building apps for Windows or any platform out there.
Right.
And it's not just about building kind of bland, boring apps, but it's about building engaging, intelligent, and connected. I want to emphasize that, connected applications, which are really the next generation of experiences. So we talked about, first of all, about .NET. A lot about what we've done at .NET as a great, complete end-to-end developer system that we have. We announced .NET Standard 2.0 support for UWP, so now you can easily start to migrate some of your applications that are on WPF or desktop.NET into UWP more easily, and at the same time, reach all the platforms that are out there. We announced XAML Standard 1.0, how you can build, for where you want to share UI. Sometimes you want to go native and go completely detailed, but a lot of times you just want to share that UI.
Right.
We've announced that it's easier than ever to go do that. We also introduced, again, one of my exciting features, the Fluent Design System.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It just blows me away every time I see what our designers are starting to create. But more than that, we wanted to start to engage the design community and developer community to help us evolve it. And our goal being to really reach across all the devices and start to bring depth, material, light to the repertoire, the toolkit that developers and designers have when building
I'm
apps.
a horrible designer, and so any guidance that I can get for this is just amazing, right? Because look, I'm not the best designer, and so when you give me I'm the kind of guy where if you give me principle 1, principle 2, I can do that. Because I can know when there's good design, but I have a hard time making it. And so this is really timely for me.
And the goal is that by default, our controls, our built-in controls, will just do it for you. But a designer can go further. So by default, most of this capability is built in. There's some places where you want transitions to happen. You need to tell us what the object is in the transitions, but the bulk of it is handled directly by the common controls built into the system for the developer.
And this is so important that tomorrow we have a session at 10 a.m. with the people that make the Microsoft Fluent Design System. So those are super important. We thought we would do a session on that.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other takeaways from the keynote?
Another one is, I think, the Microsoft Graph. We talked about it yesterday, but I think it really lit up when we could show the user experiences like Timeline and pick up where I left off, Cloud Clipboard, that we're building directly into Windows to help drive engagement to developers' applications. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you, it's all about engagement.
Right.
Even for LOB, I want my customers to be effective and efficient while they're using my application, and it needs to be delightful, because then I end up being more efficient, using it more often, and I can always use the right device at the right time. And so the power behind what we've done with the Project Rome SDK, as we've added activities and devices to the graph, I think it just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to see developers do when they can use all of the devices in a user's life together in a harmonious way.
And that's actually really cool, because, this whole time we've been trying to adapt as humans to computers, and now it's like, wait a minute, that's not what they're for. You're saying we can adapt any device to you, the human, and that's what Graph does.
And yes, at the end of the day, technology should adapt to us, and not us to technology. That's what when I see intelligence, that's what we need.
Right.
We mean the computer is adapting to the human, making the human more effective, more efficient, more delighted in everything that they do.
So here's a question, and maybe you can help me that. Before there was something called Office Graph, now there's something called Microsoft Graph. Is Office Graph being augmented now with devices in Microsoft Graph?
Well, it's actually always been called the Microsoft Graph.
See, and I got it wrong.
Right, but it only had Office objects in it.
Oh, I see.
It had Office users, and it had Office activities, like editing a document.
Right.
Now, by connecting Windows to the Graph, we're bringing in not just all of what Windows activities are on the system, but all the apps that run on Windows, and now we've connected your iOS and your Android devices. So all your activities, like what movies you were watching, what, say for Xbox Live, if you connected to someone, that can be recorded. And so your app can just go and record all of its activities and show up in timelines, so I can go back and record them. Now, you don't want recording it constantly.
Right.
What you want to do is pick the places that will cause the most re-engagement and have the right amount of, the right amount of fidelity. If you sit there and you record every single thing they do, the human won't be able to process
Right.
that. So you be intelligent. Like for a movie, you typically record, where they left off, not everything they've done. Or even a game. It's, hey, where did I play and where can I pick up, but not necessarily every single detail. So about being smart. I always say start from what you notified. Start from where you were using notifications.
Right.
Because that tends to be where you wanted some re-engagement. And then move from there to drive more and more engagement. You have another tool in your tool chest.
And see, it's amazing to me, like that now devices are designed to like help us, because we think how many devices do you use in a day? I know I use my phone, I know I use my tablet, I have my computer, but maybe your car is a device too.
All of them are, and I think Satya talked about yesterday, like 7 to 9 devices that humans just today
Right.
are starting to use, and that is just going to increase exponentially.
Okay.
So that's why these devices have to adapt to us. If I had to adapt to 100 devices,
That'd be
it
horrible.
wouldn't be helping me.
It's
It'd
like,
make my
where do I
life worse.
find this thing, right? It's amazing.
Well, it's like the notifications you'll see on all your devices. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
That's it done poorly. And now we want to add intelligence to that connection to go do it.
That's
But I'll
amazing.
tell you the one I really loved was when Terry talked about making Windows the best dev box.
Right.
And how we now have made it so that Windows plus Visual Studio allows you to build for, any developer can build any application for any platform,
Right.
all from Windows. You can use your Linux tools, you can target iOS and Android. With .NET, we have the most complete solution for targeting the range of devices that a developer has to deal with. Because developers are always telling me, I have too many devices to deal with. Help me simplify that world, write once, be able to target all these with the minimum amount of additional effort and optimize my workflow.
I mean, and it's like built into the OS, like Windows subsystem for Linux is amazing. Like if
Yep.
you want to test something on Linux, that's real Linux.
Yep.
It's not like some fake. They're the ELF64 binaries.
Yep.
And I've spent some time with these dudes. It's real stuff. And now with the Xamarin Live Player, direct from Visual Studio, you can write your app and see what it looks like on your device, which is
There's
amazing.
no faster inner loop, that we've got with Visual Studio going now to every single device. You can go
Right.
iOS and Android with it, and on Windows we already had the continue edit, edit and continue feature, so you can be super efficient on Windows. It's very exciting to me.
All I know is that I can literally, from my box, hopefully soon, fire up Visual Studio, plug in my phone, and see what this thing looks like.
Yep.
It's amazing. All right, so I've been hogging you a little bit. Let's go to the questions. Logan, why should I care about UWP? MS is not even using it. So this is a tough one. Why? Because we started UWP 2 years ago.
Yep.
Why?
Why? And it really was the basis of what you've seen today. We kind of had to clean up our own house. We knew we had so many new devices, just Windows devices, that we needed to build a platform that would span across all of them. And we needed that to be efficient, and basically, we started even on this design system. We've been evolving it, and we felt like we were at a point now with some real core principles we could share. So UWP's goal was first to get so that all the Windows devices had a common platform. And now you've seen us take the next step, really, in bringing that to the other devices that are in a person's world, because we do live in a device-diverse world,
see.
and we had to deal with new inputs, and we knew every new iconic device has a new iconic input type,
Right.
and you need a platform that can scale and handle that effectively.
I see. So what you're saying is that UWP was an effort to get everything in order so that we could write something on any device.
Right, because before you had to write it 10 different times, 10 different UI
Right.
frameworks, and each had their different benefits and strength, and you just didn't get a coherent experience across all those devices. And then how would you apply intelligence to it
Right.
when you actually are writing it so many times?
Right. All right, next question. Why not just improve WPF? I only build desktop software. I don't really care about ink and touch. That's another tough one.
I think it's very similar. You start off thinking you only care about this one device, and then when all your users start having more devices, what do you do next? Rewrite the application, restart?
Right.
And even our own apps, this is why we're rewriting our applications using Universal Windows Platform, because we know we want to hit not just our devices, but even even other platforms. So it's really about targeting that breadth of devices. You can, even if you are targeting one, we believe we have a great solution. But when you add that next one, it's not a rewrite. It's incremental costs for each additional platform, really with some optimizations for each one.
So I think what you're saying, if I'm understanding, is developers were always hedging for the future, and you're saying with UWP, we're doing that for you in advance
Yeah.
with devices.
Yes, you don't have to go hedge anymore and decide which one to bet on first. Just bet on UWP, build for the device that's maybe your iconic initial device, and if a new one comes up and the users are using it, or they're using now touch, because we all started out thinking mouse and keyboard, and then touch is hot. I actually use both. I find myself, typically if I'm being productive, it's mouse and keyboard, but I will never zoom, I will never pan. I always seem to just pop up and touch the screen, because that's what I do. My children use touch for everything. They take the TV, thinking the TV's going to move.
I've seen my kids like touch. I'm not. You can't touch that, and I'm like, wait a minute. They don't know that.
Right.
Why shouldn't they be able to? So I like the answer. It's look, we're hedging for the future, and we want you to come along with us.
Absolutely.
Okay? Next question. Any new Windows 10 build today?
There's insider builds out there. We're now announcing a new build today. If you're an insider, you can go get the latest insider build. And really the goal is with each insider build, there's more value and there's more discovery and there's more iteration. So just get on the insiders and get the latest build.
Love it. Next one from Ephraim. Sorry, we already have Al. Can you please give me some more details on XAML standard? And I think this speaks to the reason behind UWP too.
Yeah, I mean, as we looked, we looked at Xamarin Forms and our universal XAML. And at the end of the day, for whatever, we kind of start from different places, and as we evolve them, they just look different.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of cut and paste, and you look at them together, it's hard to parse. So the first step we said is, hey, let's just go rationalize the markup and unify it, and let's really embrace the idea that there are a set of UI that you want to be shared. Now, it's not always all of your UI. Sometimes you have an iconic view,
sure.
but especially for enterprise developers, a lot of the views are just shared, and they want the native capabilities that they would get with a framework like Xamarin Forms. So now we are aligning them, so you can write the markup once. It actually uses native controls from the system. These are not redrawn ones or us emulating them. It's the real platform controls, and then we've taken the programming model behind it, which is different because Android implemented different than Apple implemented, which is different than us. But now we've taken the common set of functions and events for those controls and built them in one way. So you can write your code once for those sets of UI.
And not just write your undercode, but write your UI code, right?
UI code and the logic
even
behind
the
the
XAML?
UI. And the XAML, the markup is shared.
That's
and then
awesome.
you can, actually there's the ability to have if-defs in there.
Right.
So you can say, hey, on this platform, I want to have this extra control or do something different.
Oh, I
so if you do
see.
it just a little different, you don't have to, completely split it either.
Right.
But there are times in many of our apps, we just build 3 heads. We allow you to build 3 heads, one natively to each one, but you share and then do a little bit of light up
That's
on
awesome.
each of them.
And I mean, it makes sense, right? Because since we acquired Xamarin, they had their own XAML implementation.
Yep.
And it's good to finally just be like, hey, let's make a standard.
Yep.
Love
Send it.
All right, next question. Is the Story Remix built on UWP?
Yes, it is. It's built as a .NET application using XAML. It's a UWP shipped through the store.
So for those that didn't watch, maybe at the beginning, what's Studio Remix?
Studio Remix is an application that allows you to take photos and videos and kind of remix them together, add special effects, pull in cool 3D animated objects. It really is, I'd say, it's the next iteration of Movie Maker in some ways. From Windows, people ask this is how you do it, really, really easily and efficient. It's not going to replace all your super high-end tools, but for me, for my kids, my wife,
Kevin.
It's powerful.
We were watching this here, and when they did the fireball thing, we were like, oh man, if it tracks the ball, we are out of a job. And it just
tracked the ball.
We were like, oh my goodness. So that was amazing. Those generally, you would have to make those in After Effects, and it would take a lot of time. I don't know how to do them. I'm just a lowly programmer, by the way. Know a little bit of video, right? And so that to me was amazing.
Yeah, it's so easy to just get a simple, cool video that you just get off the ground with, and then you get to tweak. And we're going to keep adding more and more features to it.
I love it.
So it's not done.
I love it.
It's just the beginning.
When is this? Is it out in the next edition, the Fall Creators?
It'll be out in the fall, in the Windows 10 Fall Creators Update.
Got it. Nirmal Guru asked, XAML standard, is it UI controls or a language standard?
So it is, in essence, a markup standard with some programming model behind it. We're not building new controls as part of XAML standard. They are the native ones. And the reason we do that is, at some point it is so hard.
You got some fans over there. Look at that.
So at some point, each device has some signature controls. Like for us, we build ink in, we build game controller. We build so much into our native controls that we want to just work well in the system.
Got it.
And trying to replicate that with some UI framework, that's not really where everybody's going today. They want the native look and feel. They want the personality of the device, but the simplicity of sharing the code.
I see.
So you get a markup that's the same. We say button, a button only does so many things, but the reality is, all these new input types, it's a complex to write a button that works on every single input type. Even game control, you had to do a focus model that was slightly different when it runs on Xbox. So we really standardized the markup and the programming code and leave it to the underlying platform to make it work great on the hardware that it's on.
Awesome. So we have 6 minutes. Let's just burn through these because people have a lot of questions. Is Microsoft going to focus on technologies on how to help people on the autism spectrum?
We definitely are looking at different places of helping people with accessible needs, and we definitely want to help in every way that we can.
Awesome.
So we've disclosed the ones we've disclosed, but we are definitely looking at it across a spectrum of needs.
Awesome. Another one, will Project Rome and MS Graph work when devices are offline like clipboard sync?
So clearly we can sync it if they're offline.
Right.
I think it's kind of a leading question of, no, if they're offline, you will not be able to sync it. We don't really do that. We are looking at some peer-to-peer technologies to go do that, but right now we do roam that through the cloud.
But it's also important to know that in semi-connected environments, this will work, right? Because when you're connected, it'll get it, and then you can go off and do something on the boat or something.
And then we'll sync up, and what happens on the current device, like we'll also be recorded in timeline. So yes, some things will work offline, some things require connection.
So I'm excited because I'm working towards owning a boat when I'm 60 years old, maybe, if I can retire, and then I'll be able to do this
By
stuff.
that time, we'll have internet everywhere.
We'll have internet everywhere, that's right.
Out in the middle of the ocean.
Kevin, from Kevin, can explain a bit more on XAML standard. Will this feel like writing XAML in Xamarin Forms?
It's in many ways, it's about sharing the same markup. It's built into Windows directly. So you'll be able to use Windows, use that markup, and then share that when you have an iOS and Android project. So it's really about sharing that markup and the code behind it, and it being built, just like .NET Standard is built directly into Windows. This will be built directly into Windows, and then you can build it for iOS and Android as well.
And the interesting thing is that Xamarin did something similar to this called Xamarin Forms that was trying to help people make UI across Windows, Android, and iPhone.
This really is an evolution of Xamarin Forms. I don't want anybody to go, oh, we're changing the cheese on them. No. It's an evolution and rationalization of Xamarin Forms.
Got it.
So if you've been investing in Xamarin Forms, yes, we're going to work to rationalize that markup, but no, don't go think we're changing the cheese on you.
I love it.
The day of moving the cheese on people is not our day.
Got it.
We want to incrementally help you move forward.
Next one, can third-party cloud providers opt into on-demand files API?
That's not something we've announced. What we announced today was really about OneDrive on-demand files, and that's sort of what we've announced today.
That to me was exciting, right? Because my wife is a creative, and sometimes the hard drive that she has is not very big.
Right.
And the size of the stuff that she works on, having this offline capability is amazing because it literally expands her hard drive to the size of the cloud.
Yep. And it works at the very, very foundational parts of the
OS
system.
level.
And in everywhere it works, so it's not kind of this partially, if you use it in certain places. It's just built into the system, and it does it seamlessly.
I'm excited about that. Where can I find more info on XAML standard?
I don't actually remember the URL.
I think they put it up there. Design.
There we go. aka.ms/XAML standard.
Look at that. They helped us out. Thank you for that. The next one. The Keynote had a demo with the new Xamarin Live Player. Does this still require a Mac to do the compile when building an iOS app?
No, it doesn't require it to do the build. To do the inner loop development where you build, deploy, test, all that's done for the .NET application. It does work just with .NET applications, Xamarin applications that we're building. And we do all of that directly there between Windows and just an iPhone. When you ultimately have to publish it to the store, then you'll have to use a Mac there. But that all inner loop development, which is where most of the time you're spent, but before you publish it, you'd have to compile.
So can you use Visual Studio Mobile Center to do the builds as well? And
yeah, actually, I recommend that. I love using it.
Okay.
You basically just go, once you do a check-in, you have a cloud automatic build. You can test it in the test cloud with all the new Windows devices there. You can test across everything. And then it automates publishing to the final destination as well. So the reality is, that's how I would do my publishing pipeline. My inner loop development now, I would do it to Xamarin Live Player to hit iOS and Android.
Awesome. Next, we are 2 minutes, 47 seconds. Does the iOS dev announcement really mean that you don't need a Mac? Oh, we did that one. He's just saying if it's true, what you just said is true, it makes, we just made Denny's day. Good job. How does .NET Standard 2.0 make a difference in application development?
So right now, let's be clear, one of the strong pieces of feedback we've received is that the subset of .NET that's in UWP has made it very hard for people to move from, say, WPF or WinForms or any .NET application to a UWP.
Right.
And that has been more challenging. By now using a very large subset of it that works across all the platforms.
That standard's pretty big.
And we'll grow the standard as needed to continue to make it easier to both migrate the code and share the code across platforms. So it's got the both, modernize your app, I think the Abelati showed us, modernize it, now it can reach all platforms.
Love it.
It's a journey we're all on, and everybody's on a different part of that journey, which is why we have the desktop bridge for those who haven't been able to make the full journey. But yet, I think we're putting step by step how we can help you move from where you are today to a world where you can reach all the devices and integrate it into the cloud.
Awesome. And for those wondering, we have a session at noon 30 on Net Standard 2.0, UWP support, and UI Futures. And then we have one at 7 p.m., Net Standard 2.0 and .NET Core.
Cool.
And so we're going to be answering stuff. Thomas asks, will Project Rome apps for websites support third-party apps?
Actually, Rome supports all third-party apps.
Got it. Let's go to the next one. Is there any news on the standalone AppX packages such as auto updates and ability to install unsigned ones like MSI?
You're saying a standalone app package not coming from the store?
Yes.
Yes, we support them. It has some of the same constraints. If it's not signed, you will get prompts, just like you get today with an MSI.
Got it.
So we keep the user safe and secure. They know what they're installing, but you can actually just deploy your AppXs from your website. And if they're store signed, you deploy them from the website, they'll automatically update from the store as well. We have a very flexible model there.
So we only have 60 seconds. There's so many questions. We should probably check in with you from time to time. That way developers can get their questions answered. Please submit them to me, and I'll talk to him. We talk all the time. Anything to finish up that you want to say as a last pitch to? Oh, by the way, they put a device next to you.
Yes, I did want to show the new Acer HMD. Absolutely awesome. The dev kits, you can go sign up for both Acer and HP. To get the dev kits, you can sign up today and get them on pre-order. And this will be going on sale in the holiday as a bundle with the new motion controller. That's absolutely phenomenal, light, very, very effective and works well. Played with it. And for $399 at the holiday.
Holy cow.
So this will be very affordable. We'll see a lot of them at holiday.
I may get 1 or 7. I don't know. I mean,
10.
10, right?
Give them out to your friends.
Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Obviously, people are very interested in this. It's a very exciting time to be a Windows developer. Make sure you look at what we're doing. We are going to go on a break right now for a session, but we will catch you right after with Project Rome information. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.